The devil's advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know why I'm here today? It's not because I want to give you a pep talk or because I want to make you feel good about yourselves. No, I'm here to tell you the truth.
All right, welcome everybody to another Crimes After Dark show. The Devil's Advocates team is backstage. Well, at least a couple of us are staged backstage. We may have one or more join us. It is in America the night before New Year's Eve. No, not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. Yeah, the night before Christmas Eve, and all through the house, not a creature is stirring, not even a mouse, and all that shit. Only I think that's supposed to be actually Christmas Eve. But the point being is that a lot of people are in the Christmas mode, traveling perhaps, and those things, and busy and all those things. So we're going to be kind of low key tonight, saunter into the evening, encourage people to come join us on stage if they'd like to, because again, we may not have a full panel set up tonight. We're making some changes for the year ahead, by the way, coming into 2006. We're making some small tweaks to the Devil's Advocates. It's not a change in the stories that we cover. It's not a change in any of that kind of stuff. We're just going to change the rotation and make it more specific. Certain days of the week we'll have certain things come out. We're going to stay more religious about that because there is a payoff on that. And so we're just doing some small little housekeeping tidbits, but you will notice things will be a little different. Not a lot, but a little different. So we can talk about that if you want to. Again, it's kind of a low-key night. In preparation for the new format, however, I did publish a new video for tomorrow morning in the Charlie Kirk case, and one the following day, which is a pretty big one in the Mickey Stein's case. I'm excited about that one, by the way, because Mickey Stein's is a case that always gets pushed to the back burner because of Idaho 4 being hot and heavy with the documents that are coming out and the new public released stuff and the fights that we're having with public documents and all that stuff. That's taking center stage. So every week it seems like, or every night it seems like we're always saying, let's put Mickey Stein's on hold. I have some big Mickey Stein's news to cover on Thursday morning at 8 a.m. So make sure to check that out. By the way, if you haven't done so before, please subscribe to the channel. There's so many cool things going on with this channel that you're going to miss it. You'll be sorry that you're like, hey, I should have freaking hit subscribe when I was there last time because I'm missing the notifications. We do have 5 cases that we cover, by the way, at Devil's Advocates. The theme for most of it is playing devil's advocates with the mainstream narrative. So we look for high profile cases. We question the mainstream narrative. We actually believe on this channel about the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. And we'll take the position that maybe the person who you say is guilty isn't guilty. Even if maybe our panelists or myself might think they are guilty, we'll still play devil's advocates and say, what if they weren't? Because we're supposed to give people the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. And the best part about doing that, in my opinion, is that when you do play devil's advocates and you do assume that someone's innocent until proven guilty, you'd be amazed at how much you will learn about the legal system, the judicial system, how the court systems work, and how mainstream media convicts people in the public opinion before they ever step into a courtroom. So again, whether at the end of the day, the quote unquote guy that they have or girl that they have fingered for something is the actual killer or whatever the case may be, you'll learn a hell of a lot through our panelists, like NYPD officers that come on. We're going to have him on stage in a minute. We have people with great brains that have been studying the deep state and things like that, like Joe from State of the Deep. We've got people who are kind of on the conspiracy theory angle a little bit. And by the way, I got to kind of rein in the conspiracy theory stuff a little bit. We do spend a little bit too much time sometimes because we have big personalities on our panel that are really big into the conspiracy angles. And while I like to entertain those things for talking points, I definitely don't want them to become half the show. So we're going to kind of rein that back just a tad. But in the meantime, let's bring our panelists up. Again, I want to make sure that before I bring my first panelist up, I'm going to make sure that we have an invite for you to join us. I thought I was going to do that. Let's go invite, copy link. Let's put this in the chat. If you would like to come join us, this is a great night to do so. It's very low key. And so there's a link. You can click on that link on your phone or your browser, on your PC or your Mac or whatever you've got, and it'll take you to backstage. I'll let you know that we see you backstage, and that will bring you up in a moment, and then they'll let you come up and ask any question or say anything you want within reason. You'll get to say what you want for at a moment until we ban you if you say something crazy. But for the most part, you're welcome to disagree with me all you want. Just do so in a respectful manner. And the mods will be watching. We do let people get away with a little bit of disagreeing with my position, but don't start out your comments with things like you're an idiot, you're a moron. Don't call people names. That's the quick exit out of the room. All right, let's bring Robin up on stage, co-producer, associate producer, however we want to name it. We give her different titles all the time. How you doing, Robin?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. How about yourself this evening?
Are you all ready for Christmas and everything, or whatever you're going to be doing?
Oh, not really. Not exactly. Getting there.
Yeah.
Every year always sneaks up on me. So what are you going to do, you know? So it's always great here to be in the den with everyone. Hope everyone out there is having a wonderful holiday season and gearing up, having a Merry Christmas and all that.
I'm absolutely horrendous, not only with the seasons and the holidays, but I'm also bad. I'm even worse with birthdays. So if you're out there in the audience, by the way, and you're thinking, gee, DA never says happy birthday to me or whatever, like, I'm terrible. I don't even know my own family's birthdays. I swear, it's how bad I am. I do want to say a few hellos, by the way, before I bring up 1-1. We'll see if we're going to get any of our other guests behind stage as well. Essie, welcome. Amanda, I tried to reach out to Amanda today, but I know Amanda's been really, really busy. So it's nice to see Amanda is here. So Amanda is dutifully, as always, there in the background. Even if we don't hear from her, she's always lurking in the background. Daenerys Targaryen, welcome as well to the show. You're here on a regular basis. I love that. Here for the truth now. I love that username. As always, I say that probably every time I read that name. Who else do we got? Of course, we got one and Robin. One was backstage. Troubled Ocean from Florida. It's good to see you as well. And Row I4G, welcome. Who else do we have? I know we have more people that I saw earlier. DL in South Carolina, or SC. Cat Fitoro, is that how you spell Furta? Okay, Cat Furta. 8614. Anyways, I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong and sounding like an idiot. I love it when you have somebody that has a creative name, you completely slaughter it, and then when you figure out what it is, you are embarrassing yourself. But anyways, G Angel 333, welcome as well. Linda Snyder, good to see you. Michelle F. Yeah, lots and lots of cool first time names. Shay Watson 3856, welcome. Lots of people that I see, lots of people that I haven't seen before. Beauty Before Ashes, regular as well, or Beauty for Ashes. Sorry, not Before Ashes. Cat's Mojo, regular. Rhonda, the She Devil next door in the house as well. Lots and lots of cool people. Again, very, very low key tonight. Please join us on stage. I got one I just brought up. One, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How is everyone? How are you doing, Robin? Hi, Lee.
Doing well,
Good
thank
evening,
you. How about
Dan.
you?
You kind
Good
of
to be live in the den on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
See the magnificent background behind me, thanks to Amanda.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to get her to do a new thumbnail, I think, for our Crimes After Dark show. Maybe not. I don't know. I was gonna. I'll talk to her about that later when we get past Christmas. Let's not bug people during Christmas, but anyways, yeah, it's good to see you as always. Lots of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on, by the way, in the Idaho 4 case with Lana and Jules and letters that they're writing and fighting back and forth with public records requests and appeals and all that shit. So we got stuff to talk about there.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, new stuff on Mickey Stein's I'm excited about. I don't know how much we want to talk about that tonight. We might just save that for it's not a premiere, but my video that's going to release on Thursday with all the new information. But we can certainly talk about it if people want to talk about the case. Susan Russo, I'm looking at some more names in here. But anyway, so yeah, let's just ease into the night.
All right. Let me do my intro for you as always. Ladies and gentlemen, truth seekers, skeptics, late night thinkers, and anyone who's ever felt something about the official story just didn't sit right. Welcome to Devil's Advocates. This is not a podcast for easy answers. This is not a podcast for sound bites, outrage clips, or pre-packaged conclusions. This is where narratives get challenged, where timelines are dissected, where evidence is questioned, re-questioned, and put back under the microscope again. Because in a world flooded with headlines, hashtags, and half-truths, we believe one thing above all else. If a story is true, it can withstand scrutiny. Here, we don't argue innocence or guilt for sport. We don't protect institutions, personalities, or popular opinions. We advocate for one thing only, the integrity of the facts. Every case has a version that gets told and a version that gets ignored. Every investigation has answers it wants you to accept and questions it hopes you never ask. We ask them anyway. We slow the chaos down. We strip away emotion. We follow the timelines. We read the documents. We examine what was said, what wasn't said, and when it wasn't said. And when the narrative feels airtight, that's when we push the hardest. Because justice doesn't live in blind belief. It lives in examination, in contradiction, in uncomfortable doubt. So whether you're here because you agree with us or because you think we're dead wrong, good. That means you're exactly where you're supposed to be. This is the Devil's Advocates, where we challenge the narrative, test the evidence, and let the facts fight it out. Let's get into it. And with that, live from New York, it's Tuesday night.
Very, very, very cool. Yeah, we do. I think you nailed it when you said the comment about if it's true, then it should withstand scrutiny, right? So people really shouldn't be afraid of the questions, because if they're telling the truth about the questions, then they should have answers for all of the questions, because it is what happened, right? When they get squirrely and nervous and pissed off that you're asking questions, it might be a sign that maybe your story is not as good as you think it is, that if you're afraid of scrutiny. And so it's a great point.
Right. And that happens a lot in the Idaho 4 case. There's so much stuff, on 4chan, and I think the Idaho 4 is this happens in every case, obviously, but it's like a huge game of telephone. I feel sometimes we're like, oh my God, didn't you know you heard a gun rack? That's definitely a gun rack. Come on, TA, you heard the gun rack. Come on, like maybe. But do we know that?
It's funny you mentioned the gun rack, because after Pavarotti said that's definitely a gun rack, you hear now forever in this community, people ask me what I think about gun rack guy, and I have to get like, you don't know that's a gun rack. You literally had somebody tell you it's a gun rack, and now we have to refer to him as gun rack guy, like it's a foregone conclusion he racked the gun. And I understand for some people are like, well, that's clearly what it is. No, it's not clear what it is. Lots of things can make that noise, but you know what? In the community, you refer to that person as gun rack guy.
Right. I mean, the video is in the parking lot. I mean, could it be someone just closing a trunk or something?
Right.
There's a lot. Right.
But that name is stuck with that. What about gun rack guy? Like, you don't know that's a gun rack. You don't know that's Murphy barking. You don't know. Anyways, like, so I like to there's so many things.
Right. I like to mention that because that's one of the things that everyone talks about, but that doesn't hold up to our scrutiny, So
right.
Yep.
So I didn't have a lot of time today to look at other creators. I did see, for just, again, this is, by the way, we want this to be an open communication. So in the audience, we're looking for questions that we can riff off of. And if you want to come up on screen, even better, because I got long form videos for preaching to you all day long about what I think about my cases. I'd rather hear some back and forth and some questions and answer some things that maybe I didn't answer in a video that you want to hear me say. But I did look at some of the new stuff going on. Interesting stuff. Did you see the big, huge letter back and forth that Jules posted with the Idaho attorney on the request for the documents, and she laid it out with the whole, okay, copy 1 is here, then you copied it to this thing, and now that's copy 2, then you copied it to this place, that became copy 3, and she basically goes through 7 iterations of copies, and then what you sent me was shit. How about you send me a fucking copy?
Because the guy, whatever his name is, I don't know, I don't remember his name. The first officer or whatever detective that got the copy, she's got the document that says that they claim, they're supposed to be audio.
Right. And
so
that was
if he got audio, so where is the audio?
Right. That was the brilliant part of her letter. For those who don't know, Jules was given 2 critical hours that she was really, really needing. We all need to see it's 2 critical hours, and they gave her a file with no sound in it, essentially. And then they tried to say that that's the only file that exists. And she basically cried horseshit and said, your own documents talk about people listening to the audio on that video. So you had audio on the video. Where's the fucking file with the video, with the audio? Like, you literally have documents talking about listening to the audio. So don't tell me you don't have the audio.
She's got a big thing, and then Lana also has a big thing going on too. She explained a bit what she's doing. Her argument is, well, she's got many arguments, but her big argument, which I think is great, she's got the actual, the number of the law there in Idaho, where they're talking about evidence, what can be released and what can't be released, and it basically comes down to, when you have a piece of evidence, if it winds up being some kind of info that is going to invade someone's privacy, okay? If there's a problem with that, so there's a few different subsections. So one of the subsections deals with minors and some kind of sexual crime. Now, as far as we know, we know the rumors and we know all the stuff. We've kind of like briefly just sort of like just touched the surface We don't really cover any of that on here because it's not from the official narrative. It's not from any autopsy. We haven't gotten the official autopsy, but it's not from anything that we've gotten that have said that any victim was sexually assaulted or anything like that. Could they be hiding it? Could they be whatever? You know, that's another story. But until we know 100%, but that would be a reason to hide certain things. If it's a minor that's involved, that's a reason. Anything that involves someone's address, birthday, social security number, certain something that involves very specific medical info that would be HIPAA laws and all that kind of stuff. If it's not anything that any of those things that I just mentioned then what the court looks at is the public's, their right to know. Does that outweigh whatever they're saying? And in many cases it does. So what Lon's basically spelling out, if they're interviewing, if whoever just make some Payne is interviewing someone, and someone in the interview that the interview has to do with Idaho 4, and he's asking someone about something, and someone mentions a sorority or a fraternity, what right to privacy is there? It has to do with the case. They're talking about something that it's case law. It has something to do with the case. That's not right to privacy. We have a right to know about that.
And unfortunately, they can play games. They can play games all day long because, for example, let's talk about the Banfield stop. So they could say, look, those guys were underage, and because they're underage, we don't have to tell you anything about them because they're underage. And even if it's not true that they weren't underage, they can tell you it is. You would then have to find out who it is, prove that they weren't underage, and then say, bullshit, they're not underage and I can prove it. And then they'll be like, oh, our mistake. We thought they were underage. Like, they literally can play games all day long and tell you, oh, this person was protected because of this, knowing damn well it's not, because you have to call them on their bullshit to be able to prove it. So they'll hide behind those games all day long.
And the thing that's so annoying and so aggravating about it, it's like a circle jerk. They basically jerk you around because you see like a list of evidence and they're redacting the name of an interview, not anyone's birthday. They're redacting the name of an interview. So how? And you said it a few times on the show. I know, and we've brought it up. How can you make a FOIA request to even refer to the name of the file? We can't even put a FOIA request to ask for the file if they won't tell us what the name of the file is. Ridiculous.
Right. Or there's the other asinine thing. To this day, a lot of the names like Dylan Mortensen is redacted with a DM, right? And technically, they'll tell you, I can't talk about who's in that file because that's redacted. And you're like, look, nobody in America who follows this case has any question who it is. We all know who it is, but they can still hide behind, sorry, it's redacted. We're protecting someone's name. And you're like, you're not fooling anybody. Like, everybody knows who that is. Like, everyone knows who it is. The whole country knows who that is, but they'll still be, sorry, that's redacted. Can't acknowledge that that's who you think.
And then the other thing that's nuts with it is that you got Hippler, who has his own decree that says certain things should be released, and they're not being released. And then you also have the Ethan's family and whatever family brought out that lawsuit, and the magistrate, because they brought out that lawsuit, I mean, some of that stuff, it would have been harder for us to fight, but the fact that they brought out the lawsuit trying to hide body camera stuff and all this stuff, the magistrate that made the decision on that basically was forced to make a decision on certain things, and basically said, if there is underwear in the room, okay, you're allowed to see it. If there's we're allowed to see certain things. So most of these redactions that we've seen that have come out in these body cameras, it's all bullshit. All of these things should be re-released, which is great because then we have to make more videos.
And it did allow, and by the way, somebody said, hey, blankety blank devil's advocates. I swear a lot. Yeah, I do swear a lot. Welcome Hemisphere and Twiz and all those Crime and Chaos for coming in. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like when like I said, I almost feel like the court or the prosecution asked the family to put in a request not to show the bodies, because it allows a judge to say, sorry, we specifically had a request from the family that it would be traumatizing for them to have this. So therefore, and again, the judge, like you said, subjectively has to weigh the public's right to know versus the damage that it'll cause to people in the crime. And of course, all they need is for someone to say, hey, this is going to damage me, to say, well, you know what, I'm going to lean towards not hurting innocent people. And since they might be damaged, we'll just keep it sealed. So it became an easy way to cop out on that one. And, you know, and again, maybe a different judge and a different thing would say, sorry, the public's right to know. And again, I think this case in particular has a million people who think that maybe it didn't happen the way that they said it did. So they're gonna continually push against the public's right to know, like acting like no one in America needs to know or has a right to know. Is going to eventually get pushed back on, because too many people are asking. Like, come on, be open about this. You can't keep hiding behind this shit. Everyone wants to know what happened. So,
right, and if it's you know, so simple, why are they still hiding shit?
Right, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm looking forward to there's new documents that are going to come out. Right, there's a bunch that are going to be unsealed.
Supposed to be this week.
I would love to know. You know, I don't know if they're going to. I would actually be very interested in the official autopsies. I don't necessarily need to see pictures of but in but not. I know they just released like a preliminary. You know, oh, Kaylee was stabbed this many times, that many times. I actually want a full autopsy that says like what their stomach contents were. Well,
yes,
you know, the whole
toxicology and
I would really like to know that.
Right.
I've heard some wacky things about Ethan, and I just would like to know if they're actually going to, you know.
Oh, I've heard some wacky things about Ethan as well. Yes. And you know, a perfect example. I don't want to bore everybody to death, but a perfect example. Xana and the 4 a.m. you know DoorDash delivery. People are using that as proof of life because Xana apparently ordered it. What if her stomach contents were found and she ate nothing? She had no food in her stomach. What if it you know? And so then the whole argument of Xana was eating
Domino's.
Jack in the Box. What if there was nothing? What if there was nothing? Like, we need to know about stomach contents.
She just she just has the Domino's, right?
Right. So the devil is in the details. It's almost like I made that phrase. The devil is in the details. Yeah. So and
it's
anyways,
funny,
like I said,
and it's funny you said that, you know, because there are so many cases where that actually winds up being like such a key thing, and I've always thought that was the key to the on a side tangent, the John Benet Ramsey case, where John Benet Ramsey had undigested pineapple in her
those details matter,
which they went out to eat whatever at a neighbor's and did not have pineapple, you know. So and contents that are in the stomach determine
the time of the murders, right?
So
if somebody has pizza in their stomach and you can tell when they order pizza, you now know that they were alive eating pizza at XYZ time. Like, it sets the timeline.
Yeah.
So them acting like it doesn't matter or that we shouldn't know when there's questions about there's questions about the timeline.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know, Kathy Mavett, she's there saying, well, the toxicology isn't really gonna, you know, well, yeah, it can, because depending on how much they had in their system, again, you metabolize everything. So, I mean, whatever is found in there, depending on the potency, and I mean,
I think
everything is a clue at this point. I mean, really.
I think they said that when I was hearing that some more text messages and stuff might be released.
Oh, that would be interesting. I would love that.
I don't know from who. That's what I was hearing, that some more text messages.
If you recall, way back when they first started releasing the text messages, if you recall, this case is so fascinating. when they first started releasing the text messages, first of all, the initial story was all the girls were asleep and they didn't wake up until like close to noon. And that's when they discovered that something was wrong and they called 911. And that was a complete lie that lasted for like a good year, right? And then finally some text messages come out and show, well, maybe they were on their phones at like 4 a.m. and maybe they were on their phones at like 8 a.m, right? And it was funny because when they finally released some of the text messages, they only released certain portions. And Ann Taylor had to argue and say, if you're going to release the text messages, then give all of the text messages. Don't cherry pick which text message you're going to show the context for those things. And so they're like, okay, we'll release a little bit more. And I still don't think we've seen all the text messages. So they're still playing games. They're like, why can't you just fucking make all again, like you said at the beginning, if there's nothing to hide, then it should be able to be, you should have no fear of scrutiny. If the girls are telling the truth about what they did that night, then there is no problem at all with you showing us the text messages. There's no question at all. Like there's nothing to hide. If it happened like you told us it did, there's nothing to hide.
I'd like to know too. Did we ever? We don't know. Did Kaylee leave a message for JD at all? Did we ever hear that?
No, I don't believe.
Like I know there's a bunch of calls. I know she went on.
There's supposed to be a 17-minute phone call, but not
right. She probably
I think a voicemail.
She went on Maddie's phone, probably trying to call him, but I was wondered like if she left a message.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know.
I had heard at one point that Kaylee left a message, but
because obviously, if she left a message, then we know that it's her. We could prove,
right. Good point.
So that would be important.
See, why wouldn't that matter? It totally matters. If Kaylee was alive, then because she left a message, then we need to know that. If she didn't leave the message, then maybe somebody was using her phone.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't her. Right.
And did they download all of Jack's messages? Who else was he messaging that night?
Right.
I mean, that would go into potentially clearing someone, right?
Yeah.
You would want to know.
You would think
they were in contact with.
There was a lot of people they cleared in this case that they probably shouldn't have cleared as fast as they did, which is why Steve Gonzalez said they cleared people too quickly in the case.
Mm-hmm.
They decided that certain people were ruled out for some reason without even really questioning their alibi, their motives, nothing. So anyways, I don't know. Again, take this opportunity, people, to jump on the stage, come up. Hemisphere, Twiz has been up before. You're welcome to come again. If you want somebody else to come up, like
let me put the link out again.
JP. That was a FaceTime call, Christina said. If that was a 17-minute FaceTime call with Jack DeCour, how interesting is that? The phone call that he doesn't remember having.
He doesn't He doesn't remember being on it, but you have to press a button to answer it, right?
Right.
Right.
So what? Yeah. Did we hear anything about Jason Estes or Joe from Stay the Deep? Is it just the three of us?
No,
tonight?
I have not heard back from either one of them today.
Okay.
I just checked email again, so they must be busy. Well, I think Jason was going to be visiting with his mom. I think this week or something. I think, but I don't know.
Well, hey, I'm all for low key. I mean, I don't want to force things tonight. I mean, like I said, I haven't spent a lot of time with other creators today to see what they're talking about, what their talking points are for the day.
Pav was talking more about that. He was doubling down again on the car,
on the no fog lights.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We've got a request in for that.
Which I think is I think it's a big deal. I do, because again,
well, sure it is.
That doesn't mean that Kohberger did not go to the house. Does not mean that he had nothing to do with the crime or anything. But at certain times, if we go back and you look at the probable cause affidavit, there are some very specific, I believe, like 253. There's some very specific time periods that were mentioned, saying that was suspect vehicle 1, that it was Kohberger's car, and that car that they show at those times clearly has fog lights, which is not BK's car. So they use this info again, showing that the probable cause affidavit is completely invalid.
Yeah. So we do have somebody that came up on, we do have somebody backstage. I got sidetracked for just a moment because I got a letter. I got a formal response to one of my public records requests, and I'm literally trying to read it live on air from Latah County Attorney. The Office of Prosecuting Attorney at Latah County responded. So they list Ashley Jennings on here on the letterhead, Bill Thompson on here. So I had asked for some documents related to, and I will bring Hemisphere up in just a second, but I had asked for some documents in relation to Bill Thompson's handling of two cases in his past that involved Moscow Police Department. Their response in brief, because I'm not going to read it all entirely, was basically, you're asking for attorney-client privileged records, and we won't give you that information. So that information between Bill Thompson and the client he represented in that case is attorney-client information. We are not going to provide that to you. I suggest you go to another agency to ask for public records and other things. So they're refusing in this letter to cough up anything as attorney-client privilege. I'll double check to make sure that I didn't write it wrong. They did say, if you believe you're aggrieved by this response, you have a right to initiate proceedings in the District Court of Latah. However, they must be filed within 180 days of this decision. So they're giving me a decision of no, go fuck yourself. And I have 180 days to say why I think that they shouldn't have said that. And to be fair, I shouldn't have probably said go fuck yourself, because it's not what their language is. These letters actually are very well written and very respectful. It's just like, hey, we're not going to give you that information. Thank you for asking. Have a great day. So anyways, let's bring up Hemisphere, see what Hemisphere has to say. What's up?
Welcome.
Oh, hello. Hello, guys.
Nice Good evening.
So
what's on your mind?
Well, me and Dago have been talking all day, so I have a question.
Okay.
If this was an outside party that was not close to any of the victims, why was there two remaining roommates? Why was it kept alive?
Yeah.
If it was outside party,
right,
like a drug cartel or somebody who just didn't really give a shit, why would they leave witnesses behind? That's crazy to me.
I agree with the premise of your question, and I think it's great. You know how I am. I like to play devil's advocates. I'll even play devil's advocates with my own positions, right? So I'll play devil's advocates for a moment. It is possible here, and I'm not saying it's realistic, but it's possible. Somebody came in there and physically got exhausted after killing 4 people. Remember, Dateline NBC said the killer took a moment and sat down in a chair as if indicating they were exhausted and needed to catch their wind. So maybe they were just spent, right? They spent all their emotional energy, and then all of a sudden they got another victim and they're like, screw it, man. I'm done. I'm going home. There's the other argument. Bethany was on the first floor and never came upstairs. So maybe the killer had no clue that there was another person in the house on the lower floor. And third, there's the argument of, did the killer even see Dylan, right? Dylan does say that she saw the killer. At one point, she says they looked each other in the eyes. But is it possible the killer didn't see Dylan as they walked by because they had a mask on and their peripheral vision was cut and they just didn't see her as they walked out? So if I were to play devil's advocate from my own position, one, Bethany could have easily been missed by somebody and didn't even know that there was another person in the house. Dylan could have been missed on the way out because they were focused, or maybe they did see Dylan and they were exhausted. However, I think that the crux of your question is more realistic. So they knew, the killer knew Dylan, and as Dylan said herself, I think they might have known me and didn't want to hurt me, and I think that's what happened.
Yeah, that's a key. That the fact that she said that line tells so much. I mean, I wish that they would actually, maybe one day, probably not, but I wish they would actually redact, all these interviews that show them, so we could actually, you can tell so much from body language. I'm no, I don't claim to be, I'm no expert per se exactly in body language. There are people, for that. FBI and other, you know, specialists. Some of them are on YouTube. I go to some of their channels and whatnot. And it's super interesting stuff. I was watching one earlier that there are some like basic, you know, some fundamental, you know, different things that people feel that aren't like learned, you know, they're not learned. Like it doesn't really, you know, they're true like throughout, like certain things, the way people, you know, squint their eyes or like being angry, like certain, it's super, it tells a lot of stuff. Hopefully one day we get that. But the huge thing for me, you know, how, you know, one of the big ways, obviously, other than getting a confession, and again, plugging this book that Lee and JJ recommend, Framed, excellent. I'm a few chapters in. The police get, unfortunately, in the history, you know, it's always they get their mindset on who, you know, certain person, certain individual, and it's just all about getting that confession and pushing them for it. And it's just you know, winds up going haywire. And I could tell you one of the big things that right away, other than the, you know, whatever 8 hour, 9 hour, 10 hour delay in the 911 call, which is absolutely ridiculous. You know, from my perspective, being in law enforcement, and you don't have to be in law enforcement to figure that out, obviously, that should have been asked immediately to, you know, in a certain way. Like, you have this crime that happened, you don't know who the killer is or not, but very odd. Why would you be waiting 9 hours? But the big thing that went off the charts for me is the fact that Dylan does not text or call her boyfriend. That is huge to me.
Well, hold on, because I wanted to ask him a follow-up question on the question he asked. I think you just hit like on 7 different topics right there. But to turn it around, Hemisphere, I want to ask you, and I got Joe, by the way, Steal the Deep backstage as well now. But I want to ask you, is there any part of you that feels like my devil's advocate's response to why those girls were left behind, does that resonate with you as a possibility? Do you think it's possible the killer didn't even know Bethany was there because she was on the first floor and or didn't see Dylan? Or do you think that's kind of a ridiculous train of thought?
Well, if it's a gang related, if it's drug related, or what you and Bertie was talking about last night in your live with Bertie was, could it be a what do you call it? Shoot, P. Diddy and sex trafficking, or anything like that? Because we know at around about that time, P. Diddy and Epstein was going on with the sex trafficking. That was a big deal. And how did that connect? If it did, if that was the motive, I don't see how. If there was multiple perps involved in this, in which I believe that's what happened here, you have multiple people doing this, how they leave 2 roommates behind unless they already knew them. And that's what's so crucial to me about Dylan and her statements, because some of it, it's kind of far-fetched. She's very wanting to play, pardon the pun, devil's advocate on some shit and lie. But there is some dang on truth behind some of what she says.
Yeah.
You know,
well, and
how you come up with, I wrestle with the thought of, well, maybe he knows me and I know him, and we come face to face, and you know, you're telling on yourself, and my thing is, law enforcement, they didn't investigate this case the way it's supposed to be, because it's
right.
We was talking about Hunter, and I said, you know what? They always talk about Ted Bundy. Well, you go back in 1989 in his last interview with the doctor, he had that panic stare of a serial killer. It's a stare where they go off in their mind and they fantasize about a killing in the past, or even fantasizing about killing you, and just you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
with Dylan, like you said, the number one thing is you have to think that somebody knew who she was and didn't want to kill her, or didn't need to kill her because she wasn't the real target of the attack. Her being alive and being seen by the killer says a lot. The other possibility that we don't talk about a lot, because I don't like to get, and I got Joe, I'm going to bring Joe from Say the Deed up with us here in a second, but the other thing we don't talk about a lot is, what if somebody needed to have a survivor left behind to set the timeline, right? I need to have somebody who says, I saw the person at 4 something in the morning, because again, what if it happened at a different time and they want people to believe it happened at a different time? So they need somebody to be a quote unquote eyewitness to say, yeah, it happened pretty much at 4 o'clock in the morning, when maybe it happened pretty much in the morning.
Right, because look at the big thing. I'll bring it up because this is something that was said, like, I think 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but there's a rumor that the last picture post or whatnot that went on Kaylee's Instagram was not her, that she didn't do it.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not saying, like, we don't know. I'm not saying that we have the receipt that we can prove that. We can't. But that was a rumor that she did not make that last post.
I want to.
Who did it? So who?
I want to explain that. I want to explain that real quick. I got Joe here. Let me say hi to Joe, but then I want to come back. I want to circle back to that text, the photo, the famous photo. You're talking about the photo that was taken on the porch with all of them together. I want to circle back on that in a second. Joe, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How you doing, guys? What's up, DA? What's up, Robin? What's up, 1-1? What's up, Hemisphere? What's up, Den?
It's good to see you tonight. And I know sometimes you've been squeaking in a little later in the show, and I kept saying, like, is he coming tonight? We don't know, but I expect you to come a little bit late every night. So it's good to see you, and I'm glad that you're here. I
texted Robin earlier.
Oh, okay.
Just to say, I'm going to be up. I'll just be late.
Yeah. Well, we were probably all stuck in the show. And missed it. To circle back to the comment about the Kaylee's thing. So I think I remember where that train of thought came from, but it begs the whole, what we're talking about, which is that we need to see the cell phone records, right? So somebody gave a tip. I'm going to leave it at that. Somebody gave a tip and said, take a look at the timestamp on the photo, the famous photo that was posted with all the kids got together that Kaylee posted. And if you look at the timestamp, you're going to see it was sent after the murders. And so if that's true, then it begs the question, if it's Kaylee's phone and Kaylee posted a picture of her and her friends after the murders, then what does that mean? Who had Kaylee's phone? Was, if you want to go crazy conspiracy theories, was Kaylee even dead, or did she actually post it? Like, it leads to questions, which is why we need to see the phone. We need to see the timestamps. We need to see what happened at what time to set the timeline. Because if Kaylee's posting pictures after the murders, that's a problem.
Yes.
Yep.
So
definitely.
Yeah.
But we don't know. I don't know that that's the case. It was a tip, and we can't verify it because we don't have Kaylee's phone. And I don't know that we can prove what time the timestamp was. I think it was posted on Instagram, however. So did anybody verify if the Instagram photo has the time afterwards? I don't know.
I was going to say that they rejected that whole video Jules got from 12:55 to 2:30. I'm wondering, what are they hiding so big for them to redact the whole dang on thing? And from the letter that Jules had on her page, it said it was up to about 8 parts of that video they got from 1112.
Yeah.
That's
I just pinned for a moment. Troubled Oceans thinks that when she looked into it, the photo wasn't posted after the murder. So again, that was a rumor that I heard a long time ago. I never did follow up.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that's why I was hesitant to say it. Other than to use it for a point.
Right.
Which is
that was right. That's what I was saying. Right. Exactly.
The rumors are out there. You can dispel them if we know what the timestamps are.
I have a question for everybody. It's kind of an obvious question, but we've all talked about the discrepancies in the information we've gotten based on what came out early. And as more information's been released, we see that a lot of the information was incorrect. And it appears as if something is being covered up. The redactions, the no video, no audio on that latest piece of footage from 1112.
Yeah.
Why do you guys think, just off the top of your heads, they're hiding things? Because it appears that they are. Why would they be hiding stuff?
I believe because they know whatever happened probably happened at a different time, and it would fuck with their prosecution. So they don't want people asking questions. Hey, wait a minute. If the murders happened at 4 o'clock in the morning, then what's happening here? And they don't want people asking those questions. So they just will bury it and not let people know, because they don't want people asking questions, because it leads to any reasonable person saying, wait a minute, maybe the murders happened at a different time.
So,
right.
Yeah.
It could be that along with that obviously we know, we've talked about it many times, and we don't know necessarily what the interview was about or what they talked about. We can only, try to speculate, but we know Homeland Security, the Marshals, the FBI, there was some other investigation, some kind of drug operation, other stuff going on. But is it possible that all of that was going on? Absolutely. But something still happened under their watch.
Yeah.
And they don't want, it's not far-fetched to believe that could something still have happened, that someone dropped the ball and something went wrong and something still happened. There were still homicides or some homicides, whatever it is. I definitely do not believe that all 4 of them are in witness protection. I really do not.
You have to ask yourself. Or I do. Okay, I'm not going to speak for you. I have to ask myself: did Ann Taylor get the silent version of that audio, that video from midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning? Is that all she had as well? And was all her constant fighting of like, I haven't seen all the discovery, and they're basically saying, piss off, you've seen all the discovery, you've had plenty of time, and is she really arguing like, where's the fucking audio on this file? And then it's like, no, don't worry about it, that is the file. Because that's what they told Jules. You have the file. We gave you the file. That's the file we have. And she has to prove to them now through an appeal.
Right. That there's another file.
I've got on the record showing you had audio on the file. You gave me no audio. So it may be a file you found, but it is not the file I'm looking for. Send me the right file. How many times do you think Ann Taylor had to do the same game? Okay, great. You gave me a piece of information, but I need the file that actually fucking says something. Show me the file that actually says something, not the redacted one you sent me or the muted one you sent me. That's great, because they'll play those games all day long. Hey, we gave you discovery. Sure. You have it. I'm like, no, I don't have the right stuff.
She said that in front of Judge that, there's pieces of video files that have, redacted audio and, so forth and so on. And, so we know that there's a lot of stuff that she didn't get that she repeatedly asked for. So it wouldn't surprise me a bit if there's all kinds of, are they giving out these same files to, to the people asking for them now and paying for them?
And by definition, in my understanding, I'm not a lawyer, but in my understanding, this is the reason Ann Taylor kept throwing out the words exculpatory information. You are hiding exculpatory, because any of that redacted shit that might shed questions on the timeline of the murders, that might shed questions on why didn't law enforcement follow up? Like, what if it was just a conversation? What if, for example, just a simple thing, What if there was an angry shouting fight between Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend Jack outside the house, and he called her an effing bitch and walked off? If they muted that conversation and that heated exchange would be exculpatory information, because it would lead somebody to say, wait a minute, maybe the jealous ex-boyfriend who was just screaming and yelling at his girlfriend, calling her keep in mind that I'm not saying that happened. I have no reason to believe that happened, but that's the kind of thing that would be exculpatory information. Whether or not he did it or not, if they got into a huge fight and they redacted it out and no one's allowed to know they got into a huge fight, then nobody knows that there might have been another motive. Right. So you have to have, you can't hide exculpatory information that would lead a jury to say, wait a minute, what if it's not the incel from Pennsylvania, but maybe it was a jealous ex-boyfriend, or maybe it was, what if they had a fight outside about the drugs? Where's my fucking drugs? I want my fucking drugs. If something was said like that and they redacted that so you can't hear it, that also would lead to a jury to say, wait a minute, was this over drugs or was it an incel? Like anything they redact out of that is going to change the narrative. And so they just hide it because that's not what they want to go with for the story.
And Ashley Jennings using the timing advance records from AT&T, trying to prove where Kohberger was at certain locations. It's okay to do that, but when the defense is trying to use their own expert to say that no, that you're not accurate, you're not looking at it at the right way, that's not okay. It's only good when it fits their narrative.
Yeah, and it leads me to a lot of questions about what Anne did or didn't have, what she was still waiting on. Again, days before the plea deal, she said she didn't have enough time to review all the discovery. And then at the plea deal, they said, have you had plenty of time to review this discovery? And she's like, yes. She had to say that or there would be no plea deal.
Yeah.
I think
just days before she said she hadn't.
I think she made a mistake though. Obviously what was it, like 70 terabytes of information or something, or some crazy amount. Yeah. She definitely should have argued about the fog lights, about the car. That would have been huge. Trying to get the Frank story. That, because if there's, I don't know what or whatever, whoever was it Judge, right? Or no, not Judge. I think it was Hippler. It would have been. There's nothing really to argue. It's like his car. It either has fog lights or it doesn't. It's not one or the other.
Right.
The car is
it either
red
does or it doesn't.
You're right. The car is blue or the car is red. Can't. It's not both. So if we clearly can prove at a certain location, well, you're saying that this is Kohberger's car, definitively. That's his, right? Suspect car 1 at this location. Well, it looks like that car has fog lights. BK's car does not have fog lights. So you're clearly wrong. Yeah. But I don't know. She didn't give that argument. So
any other comments or questions, Hemisphere, that observations you want to talk about?
No, it's just, Hitler pretty much, he kept dwelling on the 7 days. Where's the evidence for the 7 days? The evidence is sitting in Zoom. All you had to do is push the button on there and you can ask him. It was Cyril. He had the answers for Hitler. But Hitler didn't want to hear it. And the whole time, throughout that whole argument, it was like he got in his, took off his robe and played prosecutor and wanted to fight them Ann Taylor all the time.
Yeah.
She couldn't there was
a
difference between Ann Taylor in front of Judge and Hitler. Two different lawyers. Yeah. She was more comfortable in front of Judge, but something about Hitler, she just it turned her off. I just don't, was what it was. Hitler had a lot to do, in my humble opinion, about the plea deal too. He's the reason why it all went down like the way it did.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have.
Well, I appreciate it very much. I appreciate you coming up and giving some thoughts and some questions and giving us things to talk about. So thank you so much. If you come up with another question, wherever, you can jump back stage again as well and ask another question. But I appreciate that.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Take care. DA, I had a follow-up question for you guys about what I said before. So, because we've all talked about this, but I keep thinking about it. So why do you think they're covering up? If there was a different timeline, what would be the reason that they're covering it up? Because why? I mean, they could have just said that Kohberger was there at an earlier time. You know, I mean, if they were going to be shady, they could have just said, "Oh, he pinged on the towers all different times and all this," and tried to shift the timeline. Or do you think that they wouldn't have had enough? Well, first question is why would they change the timeline, right? Because they would have to be knowing they would have to change the timeline. It would be deliberate. So in other words, this person or this car that showed up at whatever time, 4 a.m. we're gonna pin it on this person. There has to be a reason for that.
I think the answer, maybe I'm being wrong, but you have read that first case in Framed. One has read the first case in Framed.
I'm almost done with the second one.
Right. All it takes is for someone to say, I think it was this guy, and then someone runs with the ball. So once the FBI said to Moscow Police Department, we think you should look into Brian Kohberger, he's probably the guy, then the timeline had to change because they decided, FBI says it's Kohberger, it's got to be Kohberger. The FBI is not going to get it wrong. If they say it's Kohberger, it's Kohberger. And that's when this timeline changed. And they said, well, here's the problem. We know Kohberger was at his house at 2:45 in the morning. We know that we don't even have a car that even looks like his leaving until XYZ time. So therefore, if Kohberger did it, we have to now change the timeline because there's no way he can be the guy at 2:30. So to me, that's this, and maybe that sounds like a stretch, but oftentimes, once a prosecutor gets heavy-handed into deciding who they're going to go for the case, they just make the evidence fit, and they ignore his DNA is not at the scene. Doesn't matter. I'll just say that he was just clever and somebody else left their DNA there. This wasn't at the scene. Doesn't matter. I'll just look there. They just literally get blindsided and narrow focused that they now know who the guy is, and they will make the thing fit. So to me, I feel like that's the answer. Is at some point they were told Kohberger is the guy, and then they just shifted the narrative because the only way to make Kohberger the guy is to have it happen at a different time.
But why not try to pin it on somebody that was seen with the girls at some point or had some connection to the girls? Like if they were going to go that route, right? If they're going to go the route to pin it on somebody, frame somebody, then couldn't they have found somebody that had a connection to the girls?
Well, and so along that lines, Susan Russo is kind of saying a similar question. Because the argument against what I just said was, if they get somebody's idea in their head and just force the data, then why didn't they do that with an early person? Like they should have had people to go after early in the investigation, not waiting weeks to almost a month to come up with a name, right? So why didn't they come up with a theory a long time ago and then force all the data to make that person guilty? And again, that to me is the biggest mystery of this case. Something shifted them off of who they already suspected. I think they did suspect somebody early. I think they said the murders happened between 2:30 and 3:30. I think that was the consistent case until the FBI gave them the tip on Kohberger, and then everything shifted. Why though? Why didn't it follow what you typically would see, which is that they already have who they want for it and they're just going to make it fit? Right. They shifted the narrative to Brian Kohberger is the guy.
Right. Well, do you see where I'm going with this, guys? There's a reason why I'm asking these questions, because they could have pinned it on Kopaka.
Sure.
He's dead.
Right.
He can't defend himself. Oh, we had things linking it to him and whatever. If they were going to plan evidence, they could have planted evidence.
Why he went to Kohberger. That could be the reason why he went to Kohberger. Kopaka's not here.
Right, but I mean, they could have solved the case, and the community would have felt safe again. We got the guy. We took him out. But as we always said, we've said it many times. Maybe they, maybe Kohberger was indeed there, that he had some,
he drove Kopaka, or he had some involvement. He didn't actually, like he said, like Lee always says, he always claimed factually that he had nothing to do with the homicide. So maybe Kohberger was there. Kohberger, maybe he actually was there, driving the car, or some had something to do with something, but had nothing.
I'm gonna help Joe out a little bit, because I feel like what Joe's doing. Sorry, Robin, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think what Joe's doing is it's the typical Joe. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So you're trying to lead us, but we're not drinking. So you've led the horse to water. You can't make us drink. Tell us where you're going with it then.
Well, what I would say to what one said was, we seem to believe, and a lot of people seem to believe, that the crime happened earlier, right? So if Kohberger was in fact there, the only white Elantra we saw was at 4 a.m.-ish, right? Yeah. So that would, if he was there and he was involved at the time in the murders, I guess is what I'm getting at, then that idea doesn't really hold up, because the only time we saw a white Elantra in that area was later. Right. So what I'm getting at is, because I'm not going to give you a conspiracy theory, I'm trying to build a logical case for why I think Kohberger was handed over basically as a suspect, because he was working with the feds. Because why else would, he could, because again, that could have not been his car. They saw a white Elantra leaving the house at a certain time. That we can't confirm that he was in the car, obviously. But if he could have been brought in after the feds or whoever else was involved, the feds, let's just say, because they were involved pretty early on. After they saw a white Elantra at a certain time, Kohberger is brought in as a suspect, because he may have been, or it could have been a red herring. If it was an operation, that the white Elantra could have just been a red herring. But I'm just saying, like, the reason why he becomes, and the timeline shifts and he becomes the main suspect after they allegedly had another suspect potentially, I tend to feel like it points to some kind of collusion with the feds, that we're gonna basically hand you this guy as a suspect.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, it just logically, it doesn't make sense why, if they were going to frame somebody, they could have found people that would have been easier to convince people that did it, like people that had a connection to the girls, or someone like Kopaka, who is dead. He can't defend himself. There's not going to be a trial. They could just say, yeah, we found this. And they could say the same thing. We found this knife sheath in his apartment, or something along those lines. Or we found the knife in his apartment, and the knife sheath had his DNA on it. If they were going to frame somebody, I'm just trying to work out some of the most obvious things, like why they didn't take it. If they were going to frame somebody, why not go, unless he was a Fed, unless Kohberger was working with the feds. That's my whole point.
Well, I think that Cy Ray, in my opinion, is going to be a huge key to this case, because I think that's one of the reasons Cy Ray was irate about Ashley Jennings, because he knows why potentially the FBI fingered Brian. He knows something, and he's not being allowed to say it. And he knows for a fact that they were able to get those timing advance reports through, as he called it, the back channels. And Peter Jackson, the contact that Cy Ray has worked with for years with the FBI, can get those reports. They have other channels. And so he knows why potentially Brian would have been fingered by the FBI. And why was the FBI so eager to, serve up Brian on a silver platter? And Thompson, he was probably so happy to be able to have an opportunity to win, I say win, another case, that late in his career, he was just going to go with whatever the FBI told him to go with.
Because like if Kohberger, oh sorry, go ahead.
I got a quick question. So are you saying, I get what you're saying, but are you more so implying that so Kohberger is working with the feds, that they just threw him under the bus, or that this is all that he knew this was going to happen? Because I was going to say, if he's working with them, the devil's advocate that I'd have to say to that, why waste 3 years or whatever? Why waste 2.5 years? And then at the last second, Josh Hurwitz comes in, and all of a sudden it's a plea deal, and like, why not right away? Okay.
Well, because you could there's always multiple reasons why operations get carried out. So like the tie into that is, would the feds allow a local police department to frame a guy? Right? Because they were involved in this case, which means they had all the information that was available early on. So why would what I'm trying to say is, if it was a local thing and the PD was framing Kohberger, right, would the feds allow that? Because they would have had all the information that MPD had. So would they allow that? So that's why I'm implying that the feds brought him into the picture, because it was under their auspices.
So let me throw a spitball idea out. I don't know what the legal precedence is, but this is even in Luigi Mangioni's case, which I also cover, right? There was a police officer who said, hey, we love working with the media because it allows us to shape the conversation. We can say what we want to say to the media, and it doesn't have to be true, right? And so the law enforcement can mislead the public. Like, let's say law enforcement suspects that the real killer is out there on the loose. They can lie to the media and say, hey, we've got the guy, we're not looking for anyone else, and therefore make the person who they are looking for get lazy and think, oh, I got away with it. They're not even looking for me. They got the guy behind bars. I got away clean. And lie to the media and work with them in that regards to tell people, hey, look, we've got our guy. We're not looking for anybody else, while simultaneously going after somebody else. So could that have happened in the Kohberger kind of situation? Could you say, well, the feds know it was somebody else, but at this point they needed to have that somebody else think they got away with it, and hey, we're not looking for anybody else, we got our guy, while simultaneously going to look for the actual person they think did it? And did they get somebody like Kohberger to agree to those terms? Like, oh, I'll go ahead and be your fall guy and say, okay, yeah, I'm going to take a plea deal, make the bad guys think they got away with it, and you're still continuing an investigation to go after the bad guys. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've said that from day one. Like, it's possible that they're working on a bigger case, but if that was the case, then Kohberger would be working with the feds. Yeah, for all intents and purposes. I just reading that book, Framed, it's making me look at some aspects of this case from a different lens, or through a different lens. It's like, why? Okay, could they be framing Kohberger, railroading him, and if so, then are the feds aware of it? I guess it's those types of questions that I'm asking.
Yeah. Robin, did you pin that comment up on the screen?
No, I think one did.
I put it up.
Did you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, well, it's just, so just happened to drive the same car, had the same sheath, and somehow touched another sheath to leave DNA. So again, you gotta look at all the facts of what we know, right? So yes, they found touch DNA. Just be clear and make sure you understand what touch DNA is. They didn't find blood. They didn't find bodily fluid. They found touch DNA. Touch DNA can be left, you could touch someone at the post office, and now, it's touch DNA is very easy to transfer. Along that line, what, do we have body camera of this body sheath being, as Lee keeps saying, every time, which is what's crazy in this case, every time a new document comes out, there's 10 more questions, right? So this knife sheath is discovered, and there's no body camera footage of the evidence. So what does that mean? Is the evidence planted? I don't know, but it's a good question. Why is there no body camera footage of it? It should be on body camera footage. It's highly, highly suspicious that it's not.
And this comment, like, he must be the unluckiest innocent person ever. I wanted to point out, like, that guy that we keep talking about, and everybody's read this book, Framed, but that guy, that his conviction of, I can't remember if he spent 12 years. The first guy? One, the very first one.
Okay.
Was nothing more than somebody saying, I think that guy was obsessed with that other guy's wife. And that was it. And his unlucky position was living next door to them. And having been over to their house before to play cards or whatever. And that was enough to convict him. And one could argue he must be the most unlucky son of a bitch ever, that just because he went to their house, all of a sudden he's a killer. It happens. Yeah. It happens all the time.
And what's crazy about that case that you're mentioning too, is that same neighbor actually told the police that there were two suspicious guys, and the other suspicious person that they named actually wound up being the real killer. But the police got so targeted on that one individual that even when they had the DNA evidence that cleared this guy of doing the rape and the murder, they still manufactured more stories to try to fit a narrative. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, anyways, this case is nuts. I do say that the hardest question about the ideas that Kohberger was working with the feds or whatever is that whole, why wait 3 years to make that rollover, right? Why for 3 years do you maintain your factual innocence, and only at the last minute and again, the timing, when Hewitt's comes on, and within a month or so of Hewitt's coming on to the case, they got a plea deal. Maybe it's unrelated, I don't know, but what happened? What happened in that last minute? Why fight it for 3 years, every step of the way, fighting it for 3 years, only to throw your hands up at the last second and say, you know what, screw it, it was me all along. Why?
Well, so to all the people that are like, implying that, it's obvious Kohberger is guilty, then why all the inconsistencies with the information that's been released? Yeah. If it's a slam dunk case, you don't have to lie about it. If it's obvious, you don't have to create all these narratives that are not true from day one about the case, and then have a guy that you arrest and don't allow any alternative suspects. I mean, if it's a slam dunk case, then you don't need to lie. You don't need to give shady information. You don't need to redact everything.
Right. It's right. It's just let it be. You let it. Yeah. This is the facts. Read them and weep. He did it. Here it is.
Yeah. Why all the lies? Why all the rumors that were spread that they allowed to float around? And why was the PCA completely bullshit? Why come out in the beginning and say they were all asleep when that wasn't the case? Right. I mean, why, if the case is just a cut and dry case, then you don't need to lie. You don't need to cover shit up. You don't need to redact everything. Yeah. Give people the runaround.
And why won't the FBI let any of Brian's interviews come out? I mean, why did they tell MPD, no, you cannot release those?
Saying the things that they're hiding. If, just like Joe said, if it happened the way that it did, why the fuck are we hiding shit? Why are we redacting stuff? Why isn't it all just coming out so everyone can see what happened? We got Dago backstage. I'm going to bring him up real quick and see what Dago has to say about things tonight. What's up, man?
Absolutely, I agree with you. And good evening, everybody. JJ.
Good evening, Django.
1-1, Miss Robin, and Mr. Lee. It's wonderful to see you, and thank you for having me.
What's up, man?
You bet. Absolutely.
Good to see you.
What did you have any exciting conversations going on today? And I mean, it seems like you're always online. So, I mean, you probably had something big happen today, right? Did anything big happen today?
Nothing big. Well, I had the star himself, 1-1, jump and chat with us and answer for us. I appreciate that very much. It was just a regular day, though. I was popping around doing my thing, and I jumped over there with, I went in to watch Birdie because you hadn't gone live yet. And, Lana was over there, so then they asked me to come up, so I jumped up there, and now I'm here.
Oh, yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Making my rounds with all these awesome peeps out here. I love you guys.
Did Lana talk at all about her appeals process that she's going on with Moscow Police Department? And
not when I was in there.
Okay.
But we talked about a bunch of other stuff, but I know she's the other day when I was over there on her panel, she asked me to stop in. We talked a little bit about it then. So yeah, she's putting the work in. She always does, but she's definitely putting the work in for that. I'm sitting over here filling a notebook with things I need to add to this thing. I can't put it out yet because I have so much I'm adding to it that I keep learning and remembering. Oh yeah, and oh yeah, and oh yeah, we got this too and that too, and so it's going to be a minute, but I'm going to have it handled. So
I do have on air tonight while I was on. I got a letter back from Latah County Prosecutor's Office, Bill Thompson's office. I had asked for information on 2 of his cases, and they responded and said, attorney-client privilege, you're not getting any of that. Go to another agency.
Of course.
So.
Of course. Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I'm adding into my letter is I'm going to make a recommendation, not that they're probably going to laugh it off, that every case Bill Thompson's ever touched gets looked into because I don't trust him. 30 plus years, you've only taken 3 cases to trial, and now we have this situation. I just don't trust you. Sorry.
Yeah. So I can't remember. I need to double check my records, but as far as Bill Thompson's cases, I think I simultaneously submitted paperwork or requests for records from Moscow Police Department about their involvement in those 2 cases. So hopefully that's in process. I suspect they're saying no about everything. They're going to come back with that no's on everything, and we have to fight it. And
of course,
but eventually, if you say the right words at the right times, it's been proven you can get some stuff out of them, like the audios they have released. So
at least you're getting responded to. You know what I mean? That's something that with the FOIAs I put out there and different things, nothing. They're ignoring me. So so be it. But you're not going to ignore this letter I put out when I send it where I send it. So I'll just say that.
Yeah.
I got a question for JJ. It's a little. I know everyone is mostly in here for Idaho 4, but we do cover 5 cases.
Yes.
So, JJ, have you been watching the stuff on Erica lately? Like
today, I did not. I didn't say
anything. Yeah, I didn't say anything today, but in the last few days, like I've seen there's been a few YouTube people are like putting out, like basically evaluating like her body language during certain interviews and whatnot. And one of the big things that I believe Harsh covered, he's had like a few videos that have come out recently. And one of the big points that he's making is that obviously Erica is now the CEO, right, of Turning Point.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And the funny thing about it, if you think about it logically, that is a huge contradiction, right, to what Charlie represented, because Charlie was all about the woman being at home with kids and all that. So it's super interesting because one of the I guess if you want to say the voting base or whatnot, that is like, I guess the weakest for, MAGA or Trump or whatnot.
Yes, females.
It was basically like the 18 to 29-year-old females.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting because Erica, they're trying to figure out how is she going to push that, because she's now the CEO, right? She's the CEO.
She's going to put on an Elvis suit and go.
No, but I'm just curious, like what you feel about that. How do you think it's going to end up? Because she's going to basically have to go against most of what Kirk was pushing with that.
Right. Yeah. And
already
it's
has
just,
been, yeah.
It is pretty funny that she the way she dresses for these events and interviews and stuff, she's supposed to be this subdued, traditional Christian woman, and she's wearing these sequin suits and leather pants and
skin tight pants.
It's just I can't, I'll be totally honest, man. I can't even follow this case anymore because so much horseshit is going on with all the establishment media people and the establishment content creators are circling the wagons now, because when big money's involved and potentially losing big money, they go hard. When 150 million, $200 million is on the line, the establishment people, they band together, man. And TPUSA was losing popularity.
Yep.
And I won't get into why. Anybody who's followed it knows why. And they're just big money, man. A lot of these bigger content creators are on the payroll, and they're circling the wagons. The last thing I'll say about it is I still do follow it on X a lot, because the people that I follow are the ones that are all over it. And a lot of people are criticizing her, that people that were just at AmFest were saying that they think she's totally phony.
Right.
The way she carries herself.
And Candace Owens, obviously is still the main talking point, right, for this whole case. Did something happen at that, that hidden, that secret meeting?
Right.
Did they, all she said is, they gave me some info, I gave them some info, but, was she basically told to follow this path? And,
Yeah, look, I can sit here and talk shit all I want. Nobody's offered me $1 million to keep my mouth shut.
Right.
Maybe if they did, I'd be like, DA, fuck you, man. Luigi's fucking guilty, man. I'd roll all over you guys if somebody came.
Well, right. I'm glad we know where your priorities are.
Exactly.
I mean, it's never happened. So I don't know how I'd respond, because it's never happened to me.
Money would speak to a lot of people. Yeah, for sure. So, I don't know. I do have a video coming out tomorrow on Candace Owens in particular, but it's not breaking news of any way, shape, or form. It's more just me kind of riffing on, when you think about this case, there should really only be like 3 names that are coming up all the time: Charlie, maybe Erica, and maybe the alleged shooter. But I swear, if you search for Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens' name comes up all the time as like, you have to hear what her opinion is on the case, which again makes me question, why is she more popular than the people who are directly involved in the case?
I was getting ready to ask you, what do you think Candace Owens has to gain from what she's doing right now?
I don't know. Other than, I don't know. Popularity.
It's funny.
She's mega huge, right? Her channel's got on YouTube alone. It's got 5.75 million people that watch her on YouTube on YouTube alone.
And she was already pretty big. Yeah, right.
She was already big, right? She was already big. The point being is that does it just keep you? I don't know.
It's funny you said that, because that question was kind of not asked in that direct way, but kind of in that way by Piers Morgan. Yeah, Piers Morgan went directly at her, and he was like, "Candace, you have millions of people that watch your show. Like, it matters. It matters what you say, and you're putting names out there, and you're saying people are responsible. And Turning Point, which is supposedly that's Charlie's, that's his baby, right? His big thing. You're telling me that people he was so close with, conspired and went against him and did all this stuff, right. And he really went at her a bit. So,
well, and to play devil's advocates, if I had people turn on me that I trusted and whatever, and they turned on me, and I knew what they were saying was bullshit, there's a part of me that would just go fucking rabid and be like, I'm talking about this all day long, every day, because you guys are full of shit. So what if it's personal? What if it's just personal?
Right there, 100%.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it's, we may all end up having to bow down to Estes crime maze because maybe his absolutist nature, his gut feelings are right. Now, I don't know, but I do know that controlled opposition is a very real thing. And, so I keep my opinions and my ideas open to different things. I try to keep an open mind about it. We just don't know. I mean, I always say this, when big money's involved, it changes everything. Regular people don't try to live their life with the sole goal of getting really rich and having power. And so most people wouldn't fathom what, big money is capable of, because we wouldn't do those things. But when you just look at history, at what's been done in the name of big money and geopolitics, nothing's off the table.
Yeah. Yeah. What other cases are you following right now, Diego? What do you talk about mostly?
Well, I haven't talked a lot about much, but I am following that case there you just brought up there. I'm following Letcher County, Mickey Stein's, Kevin Mullins. I've dipped into the Aguilera situation. Also following, well, I always was following Delphi, and as it reflames, I'm going to be jumping back into that. I still bought back and forth with Summer Wells, and I still bought back and forth with the Sebastian Rogers missing case a little bit there, and a couple other little things here and there. So I got quite a few going in the background too.
Nice. I've got a big video coming out on Thursday morning about the Mickey Stein's case. I don't want to give too much about it, but it was interesting. I just saw a new article talking about Mickey Stein's, who will be on trial for the murder of the judge, Kevin Mullins, is testifying in the new case coming up on Ben Fields. So Ben Fields, his deputy, his trial starts in March. And Mickey Stein's is on the list and is going to testify. So isn't it interesting? You've got a guy who literally is facing his own murder trial, going to testify in a case that I believe, and I'm going to argue an argument on Thursday, how the case he's testifying in directly relates to why the judge was shot in his case.
And he deposed on it right before that too. So yeah.
Yes, he was deposed 3 days before he killed the judge, and it's totally related to the same case. So I find it super interesting. I'm going to riff on that on Thursday about what happened in that case that he was deposed in, and what led to the shooting of the judge, and now how interesting is it that a guy who's literally going to be on trial for his own murder is going to testify in another case that led to that murder. Super
that
weird.
case is wild too. I've been on that since day one, and I cannot not think about it. Even when I'm not dealing with it, I forgot Anna Kepner. Thank God my mods are in here. I forgot that I'm covering Anna Kepner's case too. Thank you guys. But yeah, now that Letcher County is, I told them I will be covering every aspect of this case. I don't know why I got so stuck on it so fast, but it's crazy to me. So
it sent alarm bells off on me the second I saw it. I was like, oh, there's no way I'm not covering that one.
Right. It's very interesting to me.
Lewis Theron, by the way, asked, what is Stein's defense? Stein's is going for the, at least at the last time we heard, Stein's is going for the EED defense. Some states have what's called extreme emotional disturbance or distress. It's tantamount to, I caught my spouse in bed with another person, so I killed them in the heat of passion. It's that kind of thing. And so it allows a person to say, I temporarily lost my mind because of circumstances. It allows you, if you're facing second-degree murder charges, at least this is the way it works in New York. If you're facing second-degree murder, you can have it reduced to manslaughter if you can talk to a jury about and have them understand why you lost your mind temporarily. So that's the defense that Mickey Stein's is presented as extreme emotional distress. That's something, it's I killed him. I'm not arguing I killed him, but you have to understand why I killed him.
And let me
let
me ask you real quick, if you don't mind, Lee. I don't know what subject you were going to be on, and I don't want to derail you at all, but just a real quick answer on this one. Your opinion on what you think should happen to Mickey.
What I think should happen to him?
Yeah, as far as like a punishment goes, what's your opinion on what you think should happen? Considering, well, yeah. I know it's kind of a short-lived question because we don't have the full truth, but as
right. That's the problem. So that's the $1 million problem because we don't know what happened. But if two of the theories I think happened on why he shot the judge, I do think he should probably get manslaughter because I think it was either along the veins. I hate to say it, but it's either along the veins of self-defense. He literally was told the allegation is he was offered money to harm himself or they'll kill his family. So if that really happened, then it's a self-defense kind of case. And you have to give that guy the benefit of the doubt that to save his own family, he decided he was going to fucking put this in right now. Yeah. Or you have some kind of scenario of was the judge doing something inappropriate that involved his daughter and as a father, he lost his mind and shot the guy. Any two of those two scenarios, any logical person can say, I can understand why you temporarily lost your mind, so it probably should be manslaughter. But I don't know the circumstances.
Okay. So you're saying that you believe that there should still be some form of punishment no matter what. He shouldn't walk free on this because if that's that's how I feel too.
I mean. Yeah, exactly. I think I do believe that let the punishment fit the crime. If the guy killed somebody, he killed somebody. I mean, the only exception to that, here's the thing. Most states say, and I agree, if you kill someone in self-defense, you are not a murderer and you're not a killer and you can't even have manslaughter. You are allowed to defend yourself.
Yes.
So if it was truly a self-defense situation, well,
we saw clearly on this. Yeah, it wasn't like that.
Right.
And that's how I feel too. That's why I asked you. Like, yeah, if there was a video and you saw Mullen sitting there pointing a gun at him and he shot him, we know. And I got you. I get it. Okay. Yeah. I don't think there's anything. But considering the circumstance, in my opinion, I believe because he was a law enforcement officer, because he knew right from wrong, but at the same time, there is a circumstance back there. I believe that it should be a minimal. If like it plays out with what you're saying, I agree with you. Is what I'm saying, that it would be.
That's the thing. We don't know what the justification.
That's it right there. So it's probably a very premature question to ask. So just saying.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you asked it because I don't want people to get the impression that I think people should walk when there's no question he pulled the trigger, right? That in Mickey Stein's case, there's no question he pulled the trigger. We literally have it on camera, and there's no ambiguity. He's not wearing a mask. Like nobody questions that he gunned that guy down, right? So I'm not the kind of person that says, it doesn't matter. He should walk anyways. Like it's no question the murder was committed.
Yeah,
but does why have to factor in
circumstances behind it? Yeah. No, I'm right there with you on that. That's why I was asking. So I respect that totally. Sorry to derail. I wasn't trying to. It was just because you had talked about it, brought it to question. So,
in a small town, a smaller town, a smaller city, it's going to be hard to get people to flip, man, if they have inside information.
Well, see, that's what I think is there's already a lot of support for Mickey. There's a lot of that town really, really, truly supports him, and they don't want anything to happen to him because they're saying that he's a hero. In some videos we've seen, some of these interviews, that he's a hero. He ended it. It's over. It's done, so on and so forth. But is it really? Because there's so many other people involved in it.
What's the funny thing about that? Here's a funny little nuance about that case. If I understand this correctly, here's a really funny nuance.
Yeah.
Normally, when somebody wants to move the trial to a different county, it's because they don't think that the guy can get a fair trial in that county, so they move it somewhere else. Yep. In this case, the prosecution wants to move the case to another county because they're afraid that people who voted for Mickey Steins like the guy and will give him the benefit of the doubt because they like him. So usually it's the defense trying to get it to be moved because they want a fair trial and they think they can't get a fair trial. In this case, the prosecution wants it moved because they're afraid the people will like the guy too much.
And it's going to be hard to pick a jury that's going to sit and convict him because everybody loves him. So
right.
That's pretty wild.
Interesting.
Very, very, very wild thing.
Yeah, and the crowd goes quiet.
I definitely believe that something needs to happen there because listening to the interviews that they had done, and there's people that are stepping forward little by little here and there. They're throwing in, saying that the local FBI office had people involved and higher ups here and higher ups there, and it stretches out beyond Letcher County, so on and so forth. And I said, you guys definitely need to get a lock on this, because it's starting to look like, this is a good old boys community, as
100%,
100%.
yeah. And that's why I was so intrigued about the case. I'm guaranteeing this goes a lot further than just.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm right there with you on that. Yes, I'd be curious to see how much they can unfold on it, how far they can open it up. Truly.
Well, people are already dying in the case. In my opinion, people are already dying. Jennifer Hill, who was going to testify against the deputy, just died. They said, so
there we go.
I can't remember her name, but Atkins filed a lawsuit against the deputy, right? And that was Nikki Steins was deposed in that case. Jennifer Hill joined the lawsuit against that deputy and then just died. At 44 years old, just died. And that's all they say in the papers. She just died, so the charges have been dropped. How the fuck did she die?
No,
people are literally dying now. That's bullshit.
Yep. And who said it? Who said? I can't think of her name. Tay. The first woman that came out and gave her interview.
Yeah.
She called it. She said people will die. She said
people will die.
Happen. And here we go. That's number one.
I think they are dying. Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Crazy shit.
It is wild, but it's real, folks, and it's happening day after day. Makes you look at Idaho and go, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well,
it seems like
we're
Idaho and
supposed to,
Kentucky might have some things in common.
We're supposed to get releases, right? What is it, tonight or?
Yeah.
Anytime, right?
I'm looking right now. Tuesday. What is tonight? Tuesday or Friday? I'm looking to see if anything's dropping now. Yeah. Usually it's Tuesdays and Fridays. I've seen them drop late. Usually I need to go live. But usually what happens is it screws me and I'll go live and then drop right in the middle of my show, and I hadn't already put it in my title that I'm going to be looking for. So yeah, maybe that would get him to drop, you guys. I actually really thought they were going to drop when I was live earlier, because it always happens to me that way, and I'm like, no.
I know. I hate it when I've got something planned and then something major drops, and I'm like, everybody's like, why aren't you talking about this? And I'm like, I've got another case I'm following. I can't drop everything.
It happens every time, Lee.
Yeah,
every damn time I go live.
We were getting ready last weekend. We were getting ready, for that the 12:50, 12 to 2:55,
right?
2:30, whatever. We were getting ready, and then no audio. Like, what?
Of course. And there is nothing new as of yet. Nothing new. All we have is the December 18th order unsealing and redacting and/or maintaining the sealed status of documents. As of now, case summary shows. Come on and load. God, I hate this when this does this.
Yeah, I only saw one document that was new, and
that's the same one that that I went through the other day, and I was like, this is what we're gonna get. If this works out, we're gonna get quite a bit of stuff, but we'll see. There's nothing else on the case law or case summary that wasn't there. So it's either not going to happen. Like I said, also in my show, I said that we're like 2 days out from Christmas, so they may. Right. A lot of government take a couple of days off before and a couple of, so we may not get nothing until next week. So I hate waiting, but you never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. True.
Dago,
do you guys have? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask Dago if did you ever look into anything with the white Elantra that was in that car accident
in Oregon?
Yeah,
we did.
I'm super interested to know if that car had. I don't really know I know about it, but I'm wondering if that car had fog lights and more info on that car.
I have to. We looked at it, of course, 3 years ago, pretty hard, and a couple of my moderators have looked at it as well. And I'm going to go back to it now with the whole thing that me and Lee did the other day with the fog lights thing. I have a big curiosity because I don't even remember. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I do have questions about it. I always have. I never believed that there was zero connection because of the names that were listed on the title and who the owners were.
Yeah.
In the past. So, I mean, I don't believe in these coincidences, you guys.
It's
insanely stupid. I just don't believe in them. So I gotta believe that there's something there with that car, in my opinion, is all I'm saying. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be going back to that to look again, though, to check for the fog lights. And then, of course, once we get that info, then we're probably going to float forward with that, too, and go somewhere else with it. So.
Like we need it like another hole in the head. But the good news is, like, a lot of us got a lot of prongs going into this case. We're not letting it go. So that hopefully if we keep putting the pressure on and the questions mount, hopefully they'll have to address something. Because I just don't see how they completely ignore it. Like the attitude that nobody cares it's over is not true, because people do care. We're asking more questions all the time. And it's not just the YouTubers, it's the YouTubers' entire communities behind them that are also like, hey, yeah, go ask these questions. We all want to know. And that's a lot of numbers. You start adding all those YouTubers together in their communities, and that's a lot of people who want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me throw this up here backstage for you real quick there, Lee, if you don't mind. From what I can tell, it looks like it might have fog lights.
They got a freaking, well, it's yeah, they got the freaking the thing right over top the light. And that's not an intake, or
that looks like a bulb under there, that busted bulb down there, if you can see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hold on. It's funny that you there we go.
Oh, there, yeah.
Fog lights, right?
Yep. Yeah, that does look like a fog light there. Yeah.
Thank you, 1-1, for sparking my brain again. Because as soon as you said it, I said I have to look now. Sorry. Yep. So okay.
I just always thought, same as you. I don't believe in too many coincidences either. So
my grandfather, my father, and my uncle are all police officers. We're all police officers. I was raised around it. I have no choice, guys. Sorry. But yeah, there's fog lights down there. So that makes it even more interesting to me.
Yeah.
I'm sure people are going to come at me and that has nothing to do with it. Dago, just shut up and sit down. Okay. I'm still going to look.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, you guys. So that's, let me see if there's somebody said it with their inside shots. Oh, and then of course you have this guy saying this has nothing to do with our case. So look over there.
Which this Fry. Let's see what's he doing.
Yeah, I was looking to see if there were
Fry.
interior shots. Let me see here. I can play it if you want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, if it's good, sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. I have no problem with that. I mean, let me start from the beginning where he's at.
Hopefully the sound is shared on the file.
If not, I will reshare it for you.
It's muted in the lower corner. I saw on the actual file it was muted.
Yeah, I'll do it anyway. Here we go. Let's try this again. Yeah, now it's on. There we go. All right, let me get, because I don't want to hear what she's saying, because I don't think it matters, but let's get the Fry. Here we go. Mr. Mood Ring himself.
What I want people to know is this is a Moscow Police Department investigation. We're utilizing the resources of the FBI and state police, but we pick the investigators. My command team oversees this. We have 94 years of experience between us, and we're going to continue to work this case. We're going to continue to work it to the completion. We have a lot of resources that we're utilizing, but we still ask for your help. We ask for any tips that you might have, anything that you might be able to give us. We're going to take a look at those, but be assured that this investigation is the Moscow Police Department's, and I am the chief, and we're going to follow through with this. And just know that from the very beginning of this, we've been a unified group, and we make decisions together. But those ultimately, I stand behind at the end. I'd like to update you on our tips so far. We've received 7,600 email tips. We've received 4,300 phone tips. We've received 4,500 digital tips. All of this helps build the picture that we're trying to put together here to solve this case. What we want you to know is we appreciate all your help. We appreciate everything that you've done, but we're asking that if you have anything additional, please just send it to us through our tip line or through our email tip line. We appreciate that.
They have had a lot of tips coming in, including one about this white Hyundai Elantra that was found in Eugene, Oregon. At this hour, police are saying it had nothing to do with the murder that we know of so far. But law enforcement is still asking for any information that could help solve this case. That tip line is 20.
You know, it's funny because when they talked about the 7,000, email tips and the 4,000 phone tips and whatever, I think to myself, is that not required? I don't know. Is that not required to be turned over to the defense for discovery as well? Because those tips, if law enforcement chose not to look into the tips and there was a tip provided to them that they just chose to look the other way on because somebody was like, I think it's so-and-so, and they just went, yeah, we're not interested. We're interested in BK. Like, shouldn't the defense have all of those tips, all 7,000 of the email tips, all 4,000 of the phone tips, to look through it and see who they ruled out and how?
100%.
Absolutely.
And it's funny that you mentioned that. I believe Lana she brought that up. I saw the other day. Well, what's interesting about the tips, the email tips at least, we should be able to FOIA and see all those tips, and on top of that, with that FOIA, we should be able to get their notes on the tip. So if they if they're like, oh, this is nothing to see here, like what we want the note, we want the notes also.
Yeah.
Like what was it that said, why is this tip no good?
Yeah, right. I was just going to say that, like, if we can go after those, I'm going to put on that request as well. Now here's the problem. They're going to say that's 63 terabytes of data, right? That as Dan Taylor said, you need the Library of Congress size to go through all that discovery. Can we do it as well? But here's the thing: us in the YouTube community already have our ideas on some of the people who are suspects. Yeah. I want to see how many names came up that we've been looking at this whole time that were on their list and tipped off by people, and what they did with that. Did they just ignore it, or did they look into it? Because I would be super curious to see names that are showing up, like certain names I know showed up in the tip line.
I agree. And like I said, that car, everybody's always pushed me to like look past it. Like, oh, just forget it. They go, it doesn't mean anything. I was like, listen, my understanding is that car had one of the owners or one of the people whose name was listed on the deed to the house in some form. His name was also listed on that title of that car at some point down the line, as well as somebody's wife, who's a big time rug person. And no, I can't look past that. I'm sorry, but I can't. Right. It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So if you do, I'm going to tell you, go back and look at it again. Something's not right. So just saying. So now, unfortunately, now that I see that there's fog lights, thank you once again, 1-1. I'm going to dig in deeper now, so thank you, sir. You gave me more work. I appreciate you. 100%.
That's usually my job, is to cause Lee to have no sleep.
You are doing, and yeah, that's where I'm at with it, because I don't sleep as it is. So you have taken, I'm already only sleep at 3 hours. Now it's probably going to be 2. I'm just kidding. I appreciate you, though, buddy. It was a good point, because I wasn't even thinking about that. I don't know why, but yeah.
I got to tell you the interesting answer. Let me read you the interesting answer online that I did on ChatGPT about whether or not you can request the tips from the tip line.
Yeah.
And here was the answer. Short answer: you can ask, but you will not get all the tips in raw form. Long answer: you can lawfully request non-exempt, redacted, aggregated, and metadata versions of the tip line records, and those requests absolutely are legitimate under Idaho public law. Below is a more detailed answer. During the investigation, tips were routed through multiple agencies, primarily Moscow Police Department, Idaho State Police Department, and the FBI. That matters because each agency will have different disclosure rules. Agencies will lawfully deny your request for identifying information about the tipsters, ongoing investigative leads, unvetting of accusations about private individuals, FBI-originated records, unless FOIA requested, and so on and so on. So they're basically saying there's a lot of stuff they're going to tell you they won't give you because you're not allowed to know the name of the tipster. You're not allowed to know the person that they were going to tip you off to. They're going to hide behind that and tell you don't have a right to know, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But we'll still ask.
That's pretty wild. Pretty wild.
It says you can request summary level records such as the total number of tips received. That's not super helpful. The date ranges of the tips that were received. That's not super helpful. Categories and classifications used such as vehicle tips, person tips, digital evidence, etc. How many tips were closed, escalated, or referred. So you can get numbers, but not the specifics who was named in the tips. That's what that's saying, but we'll see.
Yeah. Wild, wild, wild. Every other day. Every day.
Every other day. Every day, all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
And as I don't know, some of my mods are in here. I may not have said it today, but let me remind you all, I hate this case. I do hate that. Say it once a day. I kind of want to
wrap up. We've got New Year's Eve coming tomorrow. A lot of people are burnt for the holidays. I'm kind of burnt for the holidays. No, not New Year's. That's the second time I've said New Year's Eve. Christmas.
I was going to say, did we miss Christmas?
First of all,
Lee's the Grinch. Lee's the Grinch.
I used to always get Tyler Robinson and Jeffrey Epstein's names transposed too. Like I don't know what the hell it is, and so I'm also going to transpose New Year's Eve and
Charlie
Christmas
Epstein.
Eve.
Yeah, it was Charlie Epstein.
Charlie
Charlie Epstein. Lee said he's fed up. Fuck it. We're skipping Christmas and moving right into the New Year.
We're going right into New Year's Eve. I don't even like Christmas, bah humbug, and all that shit.
I'm down. I'm down.
Anyways, no, I kind of want to wrap up for the night. Dago, thank you for coming on the show. Does anybody want to say any last minute notes? I'll let you go first, Dago, so that you have the option to bail out if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, thanks guys for having me. It's always an amazing experience when you guys have me up here. I appreciate it. Conversation's always great. Everybody in chat, as are you. Thank you guys. I hope if I don't see you by some chance, you have an amazing and awesome Christmas and then a new year after that.
And happy new and happy New Year's.
Happy New Year after that. Truly, I do hope that for all of you. And thank you guys again.
New Year's, by the way, for those who haven't heard it, I've said it before. New Year's is, in fact, my favorite holiday. Out of all holidays, New Year's has always been my favorite holiday. So that's why I'm skipping forward. I'm just going straight to New Year's.
It used to be mine. Yes, it used to be mine, but until I quit drinking, and then it changed. So,
Joe, what do you got for saying goodbye?
Well, thanks again for having me. It's always fun to be up and listen to everybody's take on things, talk to everybody. And I've been listening to Dago's channel when I can too. I'm trying to listen to more content creators that cover these cases. It's just, there's so much information out there, and I've always steered away from the sort of mainstream narratives. So it's good to have other people that you can listen to their take and see what they focus on. Yeah. So I appreciate that. I'm thankful for the opportunity, and upwards and onwards for 2026.
I'm excited about this coming year. I think we're going to have a really good year in the community. I think it's going to be exciting things. We got big cases that are super interesting for 2026.
Yes.
So it'll be very fun. What do you got? 1-1 for saying goodnight tonight.
Happy holidays to everyone. Hope everyone has a safe holiday. Those of you, although this is Christmas Eve is coming and Christmas, with my job, from what I have seen in my experience, just be careful partying and make sure you get an Uber. Don't drink and drive. Be safe. Even if you're just a little tipsy, it's not worth it. Spend the extra $1. Just safe and keep fighting for the truth. Thanks everyone, the panel. Thanks Lee for having us, and I look forward to the new year with all the cases, and it's great to see a united front. With all the different creators and working together.
And it's funny because now that I've been to New York once and came out and saw you and whatever, now I'm thinking I need to add to my bucket list going to be at Times Square for New Year's Eve. I think I need to add that. I think I need to add that to my list. What do you got, Robin, for saying goodnight tonight?
Well, just again, always great to be here with all of you guys and our amazing mods and our chat, and just wishing everyone a most wonderful Christmas and the rest of the year, and we'll get to New Year's, Lee. It's gonna happen.
I know. I'll just hibernate until we get there.
Yeah. But no, it's such good things ahead for the new year, and but just everyone have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Fantastic. Playing us out. You just played us out. It's amazing. What a nice voice. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. Diego, as always, it's a great pleasure to have you. Joe, always a regular panelist and one. Everybody's been amazing as usual. Looking forward to next year. I know we're not there yet, but I'm already looking forward to next year. Let's go have a good time, and we'll see you again very soon. Not tomorrow night, or no live tomorrow night. We'll have some videos coming out, but no live tomorrow night. Take it easy, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Good night.
Have a great night, everybody.